My dad knew everyone on his street. Not just their names, he knew where they worked, how many kids they had, which ones were in college, who just got diagnosed with cancer. When someone got sick, he'd show up with a casserole. When someone's kid made the team, he'd congratulate them by name. When Mr. Henderson's wife died, my dad was at the funeral. So was everyone else on the block. Today, I couldn't tell you the name of the person living next door. I've been here 3 years, never had a single conversation with them. Not one. And that's completely normal now. Something happened between my dad's generation and mine. Something so big it changed what it means to live in America. We didn't just lose neighbors, we lost the entire idea of what a neighborhood was supposed to be. Today we're talking about when neighbors actually knew each other and why that will never happen again. Let me give you some numbers, because they're shocking. In 1975, the average American could name 19 people living on their street. 19! By 2010, that number dropped to 8. Today, most Americans can name 3, maybe 4 if you're lucky. In 1985, 72% of Americans said they regularly talked to their neighbors. By 2020, that dropped to 31%. And here's the most striking number. In 2023, 28% of Americans said they had never had a single conversation with the person living next door to them. Never. Not once. So, what happened? Let me start with something that might sound small, but it explains everything. Front porches. If you drive through an old neighborhood built before 1950, you'll notice something. Every single house has a front porch. Big ones, with chairs. Picture this. It's 1968, Tuesday evening in July. The sun's going down, but it's still warm. You'd finish dinner around 6, do the dishes, and then, instead of turning on the TV, you'd walk out to the front porch. You'd sit in one of those metal chairs that rocked back and forth with a squeak. You'd have a glass of iced tea. Maybe your kids would be running around in the yard. And you'd just sit there. Within 10 minutes, you'd see Bob from across the street doing the same thing. He'd wave, maybe walk over. You'd talk about the weather, the Pirates game, how the grass was looking. Mrs. Patterson, 2 doors down, would be watering her flowers. She'd stop and chat, ask about your daughter's recital. This wasn't planned. Nobody called ahead. It's just what people did. My grandfather did this every single night from May to September. Didn't matter if he was tired. At 6:30, he was on that porch. The whole street was alive. Everyone was out. You couldn't not know your neighbors because you saw them every single day. The porch faced the street on purpose. Houses were built that way. Community wasn't something you had to work at. It was just built into how life was set up. But then something changed. Starting in the 1970s, builders stopped putting porches on houses. Or if they did, they made them tiny. Why? Air conditioning. Before air conditioning, you couldn't stay inside in the summer. It was too hot. You had to go outside just to breathe. But once every house had central air, you didn't need to. You could sit inside in your 72-degree living room and watch TV in comfort. And that's exactly what people did. At the same time, builders started putting big decks on the back of houses instead of porches on the front. The deck faced the backyard, away from the neighbors, away from the neighborhood. You'd have your privacy, your fenced-in yard, your own little kingdom, and everyone else disappeared. When you stop sitting on your front porch, you stop seeing your neighbors every day. When you stop seeing them every day, you stop knowing them. And when you stop knowing them, they're not neighbors anymore. They're just people who happen to live near you. But it wasn't just about porches. In 1970, in most families, one parent worked, usually the dad. The mom stayed home. Not because of outdated ideas, though that was part of it, but because one income was enough. Here's what that looked like. Dad left for work at 7:30, came home at 5, dinner at 6, evening free. Mom was home all day, and here's the key part. During the day, while the kids were at school, the moms on the street were all home too. They'd see each other, talk over the fence, borrow an egg, watch each other's kids. By the time the dads got home, The moms already knew everything happening on the street. The neighborhood had a constant flow of information. When someone needed help, word spread fast. If Mrs. Johnson broke her leg, by that afternoon, 3 different families had signed up to bring dinner. Whose kid was sick? Who was having trouble with their car? But starting in the 1970s, more and more families needed 2 incomes just to get by. And when both parents left at 7:30 and came home at 6, exhausted, nobody had time to stand around and talk. The information network broke down. I grew up in the 50s and 60s in Cleveland. Our street had maybe 20 houses. I knew every single person by name. When my dad lost his job in 1963, we didn't have to ask for help. The neighbors just showed up. Someone brought groceries. Someone else knew about a job opening. I live in Arizona now. Been here 11 years. I can name maybe 3 people on my street. We weren't special. That's just what neighbors did. When my husband had his heart attack last year, the ambulance came. The neighbors probably saw it. Nobody knocked on the door. Nobody called. Nobody brought a casserole. I don't blame them. I don't know them either. But I think about my old street in Cleveland all the time, and I wonder what the hell happened to us. Here's something else that changed everything. In the 1970s, if you needed help, you asked your neighbor. Your car broke down? Knock on the door. Need to borrow a ladder? Walk over. Then came the internet. And suddenly, you didn't need your neighbors anymore. Let's say it's 1978. Your sink is leaking. You don't know how to fix it. You walk next door, ask Mr. Henderson. He's been a plumber for 30 years. He comes over, shows you what to do, probably fixes it for you. You offer him a beer. You talk. Maybe about the sink, maybe about the pirates, maybe about nothing. Now let's say it's 2008. Your sink is leaking. You Google it. YouTube has 47 videos showing you exactly how to fix it. You order the part on Amazon. 2 days later, it shows up. You fix it yourself. You never talk to a single person. My dad used to fix everything by asking neighbors. Need to fix a fence? The guy 3 doors down had tools. He'd come help. They'd spend Saturday afternoon working on it together. I don't know any of my neighbors' skills. I don't need to. I can Google anything. And look, the internet is incredible. I'm not anti-technology, but it removed our need to depend on the people around us. And once you don't need people, you stop connecting with them. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Neighborhood culture died because we wanted it to. Not consciously, but we made choices, and those choices had consequences. We chose bigger houses over closer neighbors. In the 1950s, the average house was 950 square feet. By 2020, it was 2,500 square feet. We wanted more space, more privacy, and to get it, we moved farther apart. We chose careers over community. We took jobs that required us to move, to commute long distances, to work 60 hours a week. We chose convenience over connection. We bought things online instead of going to the store. We texted instead of knocking on doors. We ordered food delivery instead of asking to borrow an egg. Every single choice made life easier, but it also made us more isolated. I think about this with my own life. I work from home. I order everything online. I could walk outside right now and meet my neighbors. I could introduce myself. I could start building relationships. But I don't. Not because I'm a bad person, but because it's easier not to. And I think most of us feel that way. For the first time in human history, we didn't need our neighbors to survive. Technology, money, and infrastructure made us independent, and we chose independence. Let me bring this back to where we started. My dad knew everyone on his street. I don't know anyone on mine. And I'm not sure that's ever going to change. Because the world that created neighborhood culture, single-income families, front porches, one TV, unlocked doors, that world is gone. We're not going back to it. We can't. But here's what I've been thinking about. Maybe we don't need to go back. Maybe we need to build something new, something that gives us connection without sacrificing privacy, community without conformity. I don't know what that looks like yet. Nobody does. But I know this. We're the loneliest generation in history. Depression, anxiety, and suicide rates are higher than they've ever been, and a lot of that comes from isolation. We need people. We need community. We're not built to do this alone. So maybe the answer isn't trying to recreate 1968. Maybe it's figuring out how to build neighborhoods that work for 2025. Smaller steps, simpler connections. Just saying hi, learning one name, helping one person. It won't look like my dad's street, but it might be enough. I hope so, because right now, we're all living next to each other. But we're doing it alone. Neighborhoods weren't the only third place we lost. And that's not how humans are supposed to live. Before Starbucks, before delivery apps, there was a place where everyone went, where the waitress knew your name, where you'd see the same faces every morning. The American diner. And just like neighborhoods, they're almost all gone. I made a whole video about what killed them. It's called Why Every Town Had a Diner and Why They're All Gone. If this video made you nostalgic, watch that one next. I'll link it right here. Subscribe. This series is just getting started. Thanks for watching.